everyone, my name is Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we're going to play around a little bit. I've got it's basically a woolly bugger, but it's a large size woolly bugger, it has lots of movement in it and a little bit of flash. Really good for like bull trout, larger rainbows, lake trout, things like that. So basically that's the pattern we're going to be tying. But you'll see it better when I switch it over to the other camera, which I'll do right now. So basically that's what we'll be tying. Okay, pretty simple pattern. It takes a little practice to get the proportions right and to make sure you got enough material in the underbody to pull out. So I'm just gonna adjust this light because this light's gonna blind me. There we go. So sorry, I just got to wax my thread. So I'm using, I'll just explain as I go, but this is just Semperfli Nano silk on a 12/0 in white. Looks black right now because I just put black wax on it, but it'll be fine. So I'm just going to come back to where the barb was right there. I pinched the barb off. I'll just bring it back. Not too concerned about it touching wraps or anything like that. I do want a decent thread base, so I'll go back and forth a few times, but if they're not touching, I'm not going to freak out. So now, next what I'll do is I'll take some of this beautiful Hends Marabou. This stuff is amazing. I love the Hens stuff. So, right, and the Marabou is just great. Some of the best I've ever used. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to peel it, and then I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to peel it and I'm going to fold it over. So it's all coming off of one side of the stem. As you can see, I've already done the other side of the stem. So I'm going to peel it and fold it over, peel it, fold it over all the way down. That way you don't get that center stem portion, first of all. Second of all, it gives you all that nice fluffy Marabou. So it's nice and fluffy, lots of movement. It gives you that nice uneven tail, so it's not looking like you've cut it or anything like that. So now I'm just going to take this, just even that up. Then I'm going to roughly, I don't want too long of a tail, so about like that. So it's going to leave a little bit of a gap here at the front, which is okay because I can make up that up with dubbing. So I'm going to make sure I give my thread a spin to get it flat. Grab a hold of it, just give it nice and tight in the front here, and then I'm just going to go open wraps back for now, all the way back, and then I'm going to lift the tail and go under it and back over and under and back over, and then I'll go back with open wraps again. And I'm cranking down fairly tight on this. I don't want this stuff to spin, so I am cranking down. Oh, by the way, this is a Tiemco TMC 8889 in a size 6, just so you guys know. Use whatever hook you like. Alrighty, so that's that. Now I'm going to get some of this where are you? There you go. The San Juan mix from Semperfli, the Semperfli San Juan mix. Stuff is awesome. I love this stuff. I love their mixes that they've come out with. So gives lots of different colors and stuff. So now I've also tied, just so you guys can see where to put it, I also tie them in a bit of a different pattern. I could tie them with a little bit of a green as well. So it all depends on what you like, right? So I'm just gonna tie this in on one side if I can not get this caught. So I'm just gonna tie it in on one side here. Doesn't really matter what it looks like up front here. So I'll start it like that, and then I'm going to bring all these and bring it down the other side, and I'll hold them where I want them and open wrap all the way back. And that should be, it's a little low down there, so I can twist that up. There we go. Good. The other side looks pretty good too, yeah. So now I'll just take it a little bit longer than the tail, just a slight bit longer than the tail. Nip that off. Okay. So there is my flash and my tail done. I'm just going to make sure that's all secured down. Then I'm going to take a either Schlappen or excuse me, saddle. In this case, I'm going to use some saddle. It might end up being a little short, but we'll see. That one should be nice and long. And by short, I mean this section here might not be long enough, but that's okay because I can put an extra. I can open my wraps up a bit, but I don't have any white Schlappen. This one is done with Schlappen in the green, right? But see, is that one a little longer? No, that one's pretty good. So, and I take this, gonna just strip off all the fluff off the back end, just so it's out of the way. It's not that I need it off, but just so it's out of the way. Okay, so now I want the longer feathers, the fibers at the front, right? So I want to taper back. So for now, what I'm going to just do is go right to the tip here, and I'm going to tie this in right at the tip here. Sorry, I slipped. Just tie that in all the way. Make sure that's tied in really nice so it doesn't slip out on you. Excuse the noise of my bobbin. It's all of a sudden decided to start squeaking. For those new guys out there, old guys will know, but the new guys, if your bobbin's squeaking, take your thing off, rub it on your nose, on the outside of your nose, put it back on, gives you the natural oils in your nose, no more squeaky. Okay, all the way back. Then I'm going to take some of this UV ice dub, in Calabasas they call it. It's got a little bit of that blue UV to it. So I'm going to take quite a good chunk here, and I'm going to create a good dubbing loop. Come all the way back with that. Make sure that's locked in. Take my thread right back to the front. My dubbing spinner. You can do this in a split thread as well if you like. Dubbing loop, dubbing spinner, whatever way you like it. So I take my big wad of the dubbing, just slide it in there. I know it looks just like a wad right now, but it won't in a minute. So then I'm just going to spread that out. I want that nicely spread out. So not only up and down spread out, but sideways, because I do want some longer fibers. You'll see what I mean, because I'll be pulling this out later. So now I'm just going to give this a spin, and another spin. Get that in there. So now I'm just going to pick this out a bit, just a bit. Not a lot, because I'll do more later. So I'm just picking this out with my Velcro. And I'll make sure everything's stroked out of the way, and just come forward with your dubbing brush you've created. Looks like I'm probably going to run out, which is fine. I can do the rest by hand. Like I said, I do want quite a bit of dubbing up in this, because I'm going to be pulling a lot of this out, right? So I'll do a little bit of a wax here. I'll just dub this on by hand. I do want to make sure that I fill that gap that I didn't have with the Marabou, right? Because the Marabou didn't come all the way to the front, so I do want to make sure I fill that nicely there. Sorry, I'm having to kind of go on an angle there because my light is in the way. That's going to be way too much. And I don't want too tight of a dubbing noodle either. Like I said, I do want to pull this out. So don't worry what it looks like right there. So now, every turn, I'm going to try to make sure that my hackle fibers are facing back. Like I said, this is for like bull trout and larger rainbows and lake trout and stuff like that. So you do want fairly long hackle fibers here. This is not just like your regular little woolly bugger. You do want these long fibers, and I want an extra turn right behind there if I can. Build up right behind there. Just put that bow back, get that nice and tightened in. A couple more behind. Bunch more in front. Nip that off. Just going to nip off that center stem that I don't need. Then I'm going to take a little bit more dubbing. Not a ton. Just a little bit more. More than anything, this is just to help tighten that cone up. Alright, so hopefully these last couple of videos are a little bit better for you guys for sound. I ended up, for some reason, that Yeti I had wasn't working the greatest, so I ended up going with a different mic now. My wife's got the Yeti I had, and I've got her cheap one, and it seems to be working better actually. It's kind of weird, but oh, my apologies, guys. My finger got caught on that. So I'm just going to make sure it's tied down. I'm going to do 2 good sets of whip finishes here. 4 turn, do another, at least another 4 turn. And this, the reason is because I'm going to be pretty aggressive here in the next minute to be pulling all this material out. So just in case I do pull out one of the sets of whip finishes, the second one is there. And sometimes I'll even do a third, like I might as well do it now, because I'll put a little bit of Sally Hansen's right on the thread, and then I'll do a third set. Let's get it right in behind there. Make sure all those fibers stay back. There you go. Okay, cut that off. Like I said, it's time now for me to get pretty aggressive with the dubbing brush. So, because I do want some of that, I want that underbody to show out. I want some of that to, not just like that, I want it really to come out, and I want it to, that dubbing to be pulled out so it makes part of the body, right? And it flows back a bit. So don't worry about what it looks like right off the bat, because it won't look good right when you start. But you can see how some of those fibers are starting to come out into the hackle. That's what I want. So now I can just take my brush and just give that a bit of a brush back. Don't even wet my fingers a bit just so you guys can see, but you can see how that blue UV sparkle is now right through there, right? And that's what I want. I want that to be right through, not just on the body. I want it to come out a bit. All right. So that's the fly. Like I said, I use this for bull trout. They absolutely love it. Sometimes if I'm fishing really deep pools, I'll put 2 or 3 layers of flat wax, sticky black flat lead in the underbody, just to give it a bit more weight. One that's being stubborn there, just to give it a bit more weight, or I'll use a larger cone head. I actually don't like using larger cone heads for these because I don't like the undulation, like the falling when you're stripping. So what I'd rather do is I'd rather put like weigh the whole thing down so it can sink evenly. I have tied it with the larger cones, and I really haven't found much of a difference, but I just don't like, for the rivers, I don't want it to be facing nose down, right? So, alrighty, if you like that video, give it a thumbs up. If you've subscribed already, thank you very much for doing so. If you haven't, subscribe if you'd like, and smash that notification bell so you don't miss any videos. And well, we'll see you in the next time video. Tight lines, everyone.